What's the best case of instant karma you've witnessed? I was at a touristy place at the top of a big cliff. People were hanging around at the top, just enjoying the view, and this one guy was eating a sandwich while staring at his phone. After he was done, he couldn't be bothered to find a trash can, so he went to throw the sandwich wrappings off the cliff, but he got his hands confused and hurled his phone off the cliff instead. I hate it when my hands get confused, although this here is gold. It's a whole lot of fun trying to dig that back out of your mouth. I tried to impress my husband by blowing the whole flower away in one solid breath. I inhaled too hard and the seeds ended up stuck in my throat. As I was gasping for air, my husband was yelling, "You should have seen your face. Your eyes were huge." Two of my friends and I were playing Monopoly sometime around freshman year of high school. One of my friends owned all the railroads, meaning any player who landed on a railroad would pay him 200. The entire game felt like I was just moving my token from railroad to railroad, paying my friend each time, having no opportunity to buy properties, and getting super frustrated. In reality it was probably only 2 or 3 times. On my next roll, I quickly calculate which space I was going to land on as I start to move my token, and lo and behold, I was going to land on another ducking railroad. I gracefully slide, cheat, past the railroad, and plop my piece on the next space. Chance. Chance card reads something as follows: move token to nearest railroad. Pay owner twice the amount. I lost my shit. A person tried to shove past me in the hallway. Immediately after, a door opened up into the hallway and slammed him in the face. I don't care how long ago this was, I would still be there laughing. A few years back, I was traveling on the interstate to meet some friends who attended a different college than I did for a weekend. On the way there, I'm in the right-hand lane, minding my own business, when a car tries to cut me off. No big deal, right? Except she ended up clipping my bumper and running me off the road with her driving speeds of 80-85 miles per hour. Other driver keeps on going along her merry way while I'm on the shoulder attempting to contact the local police to report an accident. 5 minutes later, a state trooper pulls up behind me and asks what happened. I explain the situation, describe the other vehicle, including a partial license plate number, and he asked if my car was still drivable. After confirming that it was, he said, "Just follow me up to this next exit." I got a call about a driver who is out of gas and needs assistance. We pull up to the next exit just shy of a gas station. Sure enough, it was the girl who was the other party in my hit and run. She tried to deny anything occurred until the trooper looked at my front bumper damage and her back end damage, assessed the paint colors matched, etc. Bonus is that her plate had the partial information I had gathered as she sped away. Turns out, girl has no insurance and no license. Gets hauled off to jail on a hit and run, all because she couldn't slow her down and be a decent driver. Dude I worked with, pizza delivery, hit my bumper and scratched in the parking lot. A customer called him out on it. He denied it and went on his delivery. On that delivery he was T-boned and his car was totaled. Had he come into the store to tell me and apologize, I would have forgiven it. Instead he had to pay $500 for a new bumper paint job and lost his car. Nice. Something similar to Land Road, about 35 miles per hour. Little car cuts in front of me to make a right-hand turn. He took the turn too tight and bounced his right rear wheel off very large concrete curb, hard. I heard body panels scraping. One time I smiled at someone walking by, then I saw them smile at somebody, who then smiled at somebody else. It was like a happy karma train. Was walking down the street and a Porsche gunned it to make a left turn in front of me at the entrance of a gas station. He missed hitting me by about a foot. He cut it too close and hit the curb, and tore his front bumper off. A lifted pickup truck with one of those train horns was driving aggressively through morning work traffic, and honking at people who got in his way. He did it to an unmarked sheriff, or trooper, some kind of law enforcement, and promptly got his ass pulled over. So, when one of those trucks that are unnecessarily lifted high up is pulled over, what does the cop do? Stand on the foothold? He reaches his arms to the sky and says, "Uppy, uppy," until the man in the truck lifts him up and sits him on his lap while he gets a ticket. My girlfriends and I were at a club when I was 18. and as I walked to the bathroom there was a fight going on. I didn't see it, and I get decked in the face by this guy. Suddenly, all the guys stop and immediately come over to check, and the two fighting made up because of it. Maybe it's karma or not, but it was cool lol. Pedestrian crossing the street. Everyone stops for him, except one guy in the last lane blasts his horn and blows through the intersection, nearly running the pedestrian over. There was an unmarked police car right behind him that immediately pulled him over. As a pedestrian who uses the crosswalk correctly and yet has this happen to me every day, this brings a glistening tear of justice to my eye. During my lunch break at work a few years ago, I ran over to this convenience store that sold a few deli items and also had a lunch of the day special. That day it was spaghetti. I walked into the store and headed to the back to the coolers to grab a drink, and I start walking over to the line that was formed to grab a lunch. This older woman, who was talking to a woman not even close to the line, saw me walking and literally strong-armed me to get in front of me. She full on shoulder checked me. The cashier saw it, looked at me, and I just shook my head, as if to not call her out on it. She gets 2 orders of spaghetti. They come in a styrofoam compartment tray. She walked towards the door and someone comes in that she knows, so she's saying hi. I pay for my food, and I'm out the door. As I'm walking to my truck, I hear a loud oof. I turn around, and this woman is planked on the ground with spaghetti and meat sauce all over her white shirt. Was working at a trampoline park which had 2 different dodgeball areas. One for kids 12 and under, another for 13 and up. Annoying little shit of a kid kept trying to sneak into the 13 and up game, running around, breaking rules, and basically being a pain. We couldn't really do much about it. Eventually I just let him sneak on, and not a moment later he got smacked beautifully in the face with a rubber ball. Actually sent him flying back a couple feet. He wasn't so keen to play after that. I just walked into a crowded bar with my friend back when we were in our early 20s. Make our way around the entrance handrails and bam, this dude smashes his shoulder into mine, knocking me back. Thinking it was just an accident caused by a crowded bar, I start to recover, and this dude throws his shoulder into me again. Before I can even begin to react to the second more aggressive hit, this monstrosity of a bouncer, watching the whole things go down, picks the guy up and literally throws him out the exit doors. It all happened in a matter of 5 seconds. I don't think any other person in that bar, nor my friend, even saw it go down. Maybe not instant but close enough. Working as a medic a long time ago and get called for a leg injury at a Friday night soccer game. We get there and determine it's most likely a torn ACL. Painful, but basically any hospital can handle, and it's not really a priority. So we explain to the patient it will probably be faster and a lot cheaper if she just wants to have someone else drive her to the hospital that's literally around the block. Here comes the white knight into our story. This guy who's friend zone explained how he's a medical student going for his doctorate and she needs to go to the local trauma center, which is a good 30-minute drive. We explain no, we'll go to the local, they can handle it. However, the patient pulls the nastiest look at us and says her friend knows more than my partner and I because he's actually studying medicine and we're just ambulance drivers. My partner and I give each other that look. An ACL tear isn't priority for trauma center, especially on a Friday night. Drunk driving, crashes and gunshot wounds are gonna be taking up the air there. We oblige the request with documented protest. The friend rides with us. We make him ride up front. He explains how the surgeon there is his friend and she'll get seen right away. We roll in, and sure enough there's about a dozen ambulance crews trying to unload patients in much worse cases than ours. We get a Tridge after about 15 minutes, and the RSN tells us to put her in the waiting room. She starts crying bloody murder. Cherry on top, she asks her friend to do something. He calls his buddy surgeon down. Turns out not his buddy, but one of his teachers, who proceeds to yell at him about thinking that an ACL tear needs to come to a trauma center. She could have been in and out the hospital in an hour if she had listened to us. I love car karma. One time my dad was driving through a tunnel to get back from work. He was driving slower because it was snowing and extremely icy, and while it looked dry in the tunnel, it's pretty notorious for black ice. Well, this guy behind him is honking and flashing his lights while my dad is going a completely acceptable speed for the weather. The guy gets into the left lane and floors it into the tunnel. He hit a patch of black ice and immediately spun out and totaled his car. Miraculously, no other cars were damaged, but that guy was lucky he walked away with no injuries. This asshole cut into my lane, forcing me to brake hard the other week. I honked and he turned around in his car while still driving to flip me off. He didn't see the car in front of him stopping at a red light and crashed into the car in front of him. I had a lot of fun telling the police what had happened. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for good karma. Have a nice day.